Starfield is coming out next month, and a lot of people are getting excited. Bethesda has been working on this one for a long time, and the trailers are making it look quite promising. But early impressions can be deceiving, and a lot of recent games that I was eagerly anticipating have been utterly disappointing. And being disappointed by these lackluster games has conditioned me to not succumb to hype. I really can't get excited about Starfield until I'm actually playing it. And once I am, there are a few things I'll be looking for in particular. If the game has all of these, then I will happily praise it as the best thing Bethesda's ever done. But the more of these things are absent, the faster I will probably be moving on. Freedom! An entire galaxy full of uncharted planets seems like an explorer's paradise. But can we explore them on our own terms, or are we going to be limited to where we can go and what we can do? If I find a planet annoying and frustrating, can I skip it and move on to the next one? Or is it mandatory for me to go through it to get to the next part of the story? And if I am given unrestricted freedom, am I going to get bored after visiting the 10th planet? Is this going to be a galaxy worth exploring? Honestly, I'm not too worried about this one. Skyrim was beautiful to explore, and Fallout 4 had a lot of fun places to visit as well. Even Fallout 76, for all of its flaws, had a wide variety of distinct biomes and landmarks that I always wanted to revisit and explore again. If I were a betting man, I would say there's a good chance that visiting planets won't get boring, because there will always be new things to see and things to find. But there's no guarantee. Companions and crew. One of my favorite things about these games is the companions. Nick Valentine, Boone, and Veronica, and all the modded companions that people have come up with over the years. They really add a lot to the experience. We've already seen a few of the Starfield companions being teased, and they look fairly promising. What gets my attention is the ability to build your own ship crew. I feel like I've already gotten a taste of this with the Fallout 4 mod, Settlers of the Commonwealth, which adds memorable and unique characters to your settlements instead of the pretty benign settlers you normally get. Going back home to recover after a difficult mission is made all the better when you can overhear things being said by people who can make you smile.
The nukes should have finished us off.
In the wasteland, sometimes you gotta dispense justice with a noose. It's tough at first, but you get the hang of it.
And this is the kind of experience I'm looking forward to with Starfield. Your spaceship is your portable base, and your crew can be comprised of whomever you want. I can imagine a lot of people not just talking about their favorite companion and romance partner, but which people they'd like to have on their crew. Fun combat. Yeah, this game is going to have fun combat. We can already tell. All the interviews show people talking about the combat and how great it is, and it features heavily in the trailers. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Combat's going to be fun. I just hope they haven't neglected other aspects of the game to make it happen. A good story. I suppose it's not as if Starfield necessarily needs to have a good story. After all, if the game is fun to play, we can always just mash the A button until everybody shuts up and lets us go back to exploring. But how awesome would it be to finally have a well-written adventure to preface our journey? To have the freedom to craft our own stories, instead of foisting upon us an unwanted family member or obligations. Maybe there will be story moments we long to revisit on subsequent playthroughs, or satisfying character arcs we eagerly see to their conclusions. Will this game make me laugh? Or cry? I hope so, because I'm tired of feeling dead inside. A better dialogue system. So, Fallout 4's dialogue system was pretty bad. It was very limiting and simplistic. Fortunately, we seem to be going back to a more traditional style for Starfield. It looks a lot like the dialogue system for Fallout New Vegas, with more options to pick from and some perk-based dialogue checks. It's easy to miss because they spend a lot of time focusing on the combat, but in one of the promotional videos, you can see a player choosing a persuasion speech check, only to be met with a subsequent challenge screen. While the system might not be as complex as the conversation challenges in other games, like The Council, it does seem like a strong step in the right direction. Something complex enough to satisfy a nerd like me, while not being too complex for the typical player. But just because the dialogue system is good, doesn't mean the dialogue is going to be good. So Starfield is also going to need well-designed quests. This is the big one, the one I'm convinced Starfield is absolutely going to fail. Bethesda has historically been very mediocre and lazy with quest design, and the warning signs are present in the promotional material that these quests are going to be just as weak. I predict we're going to see a lot of quests in Starfield that follow the absolute laziest possible formula. Townsperson X tells you that bad guys at location Y have stolen generic item Z, and they ask you to go retrieve it. This generic item has no significant relevance to the story and can be swapped out for literally anything. A locket, a holotape, an animal pelt, a golden claw, a can of baked beans. And when you go to the bad guy's stronghold, their health bars immediately turn red and they start shooting at you. And your only option is to go on a killing spree, murdering dozens of people until nothing remains but corpses and shell casings. No way to barter with them, no way to talk them down, no way to sneak around them. Nothing short of wholesale slaughter of every living thing will do. You then bring this generic item back to the quest giver, who thanks you profusely and rewards you with money, and then also sometimes lets you keep the item you just went out to get. For Starfield, I am worried that this will comprise the majority of gameplay. After all, if you've got 1,000 procedurally generated planets to explore, it's probably pretty tempting to pump them full of procedurally generated quests. In the promotional material for the game, we always see the player engaging generic pirates, or mercenaries, or spacers, which is probably going to be Starfield's equivalent of the Gunners or Talent Company. You know, people you should theoretically be able to bribe or barter with, but you never are allowed to. You have to gun them down. And I am so worried we're going to go into space just to kill more raiders, and bandits, and cultists, and mercenaries. And why am I doing all this killing anyway? To retrieve this guy's stolen beans? Oh boy, it's a good thing we went to space for this game. Couldn't have done something like this back on Earth. Nope. Now, there are glimmers of hope. There was a brief moment shown where the player character attempted to talk down one of these raider archetypes. And in the Starfield Direct, the player character manages to avoid combat with a gang of cultists by having a shared history with them. So at the very least, some of these hostile humans can be talked down, and combat can be avoided. It's possible that we might be breaking a bit of tradition here. Perhaps the majority of quests will be good, with multiple ways to resolve the conflicts. I'd love a few stuff with narrative relevance, and perhaps a few others packed with moral ambiguity and difficult decisions. Not every quest needs to be amazing, but it would be nice if the majority of them were. And finally, respectable monetization. Look, modern games are awful because game companies have gotten too greedy, and history has not proven Bethesda to be one of the good ones. The way they've attempted to cram microtransactions into Skyrim and Fallout 4 with their Creation Club was pathetic enough, but the Atomic Shop in Fallout 76 is a glowing golden monument to avarice. Starfield is already asking me to pay $100, real-life dollars, to play the game on release day. How much more should I expect to pay later on? Should I start budgeting now to purchase the season passes? To be clear here, I have no problem paying for additional content. If the quality is there, I'm willing to make a deal. But I'm not sure that Bethesda and I will be able to reach a consensus on what qualifies as a fair trade. I still haven't forgotten about the canvas bags from Fallout 76. I hope you can understand my hesitation here. So those are some of the biggest things I'll be looking for when Starfield comes out. I would be very happy to check everything off this list, because these are the things that I prioritize in these kinds of games, and I hope that these are the things I'll be able to enjoy when Starfield comes out next month. Thank you for watching.